Big congratulations to all of the winners from last week's video. We did 5 of them. Happy New Year, and let's chat some trending funny books. Another year, another list of the trending books in the comic book marketplace at the table with an Overstreet price get advisor, Russ Bright.
Comic fam, we have a repeat offender at number 1. You are going to want to stay tuned until the end.
Slap the like, hit the subscribe button. Also stay tuned because you know we got a giveaway on deck. And at the list at number 10, we have Matrix, the comic book preview.
$35 average sales, $675 for a CGC 9.8, and that is well deserved because this is a 16-page, like a pamphlet book that was supposed to be given away at the Matrix movie, but wasn't.
A book that came out for the first movie back in the day, and this 9.8 sale actually happened before the recent Matrix 4 movie dropped this month. By the way, I got a chance to watch it. I have HBO Max, and I loved it. I am so surprised that so many people had problems with this movie.
The Matrix is one of my favorite film franchises, and while number 2 was okay, number 3 was meh, I really enjoyed this new one as well. There's a good amount of fan service, they tie up a lot of loose ends, and I think it was a great movie.
An increase of copies sold of 108% over this past week for this comic book. I pulled the numbers of the total earnings over the lifespan of each individual Matrix movie to demonstrate just how poorly Matrix Resurrections did over this last week. We have the largest Matrix movie, which was surprisingly the second one, Matrix Reloaded, bringing in a total earnings of $281 million. Then we have Matrix 1, the first movie, bringing in $171 million.
By the time Matrix 3, Matrix Revolutions, had come out, it had cooled down to $139 million. Well, the most recent one, Matrix Resurrections, is dying at the box office with $24 million. Not even John Wick or Ted Theodore Logan can save this movie.
However, this comic book was indeed recalled because it was too violent, it was too sexy, and we have a Jeff Darrow cover, which, by the way, that alone should make this book worth some money. But also we have an interior pinup by Bill Sienkiewicz that is glorious. At the list at number 9, we have New Avengers 40, a book that will not come off our list.
First appearance of Varanki, a Skrull Queen, $30 average sales, $96 for a CGC 9.6 in December, and $235 for a CGC 9.8 back in October.
An increase of 400% in copies sold over this last week. Considering the last 9.8 that I can find was months ago, that was because the spec for Zoe Ashton was at an all-time high. That's when the spec really started moving the needle. We haven't heard much about which character she was going to portray in the next Captain Marvel movie. However, the idea was that she was going to be the leading villain. Well, this past week, Brie Larson on Instagram posted a picture with Zoe Ashton totally teasing the comic fam.
Because of a playful exchange between Brie Larson, who said, "Marvel fans, start your theories," to Zoe Ashton, who said, "This is a tough one," we are seeing a 400% uptick in copies sold this week.
Start your theories. A challenge has been thrown out to the community. Keep in mind, there's a second printing, a wraparound cover that is a 2-page spread that's on the inside of this book that features Queen Varanki on the back cover, making it her first cover appearance. Even if it's on the back, doesn't matter. This book sold for $400 back in October for a 9.8.
Comic fam, if you tune in every single week, you know that we source this list from the best comic book app in existence, Key Collector, and all of these came from a larger list of 20 comics. Use code TOM101 for 2 free weeks of an amazing app that everyone should be using.
It's a tool that I use on a daily basis, completely revolutionized our show. Big thank you to Nick Colonies, the mastermind, the person managing the timeline, the person behind the computer making all of this comic book information so accessible, so palatable, so easy to consume for the comic community. And at the list, at number 8, we're talking Ghost Rider.
Marvel Spotlight number 5, the first appearance of Ghost Rider. Now, we are reporting $3,800 average sales for raw copies of this book and a recent CGC 6.0 sale in December for $2,300. But keep in mind that back in June, there was a Heritage auction sale, $264,000 for a CGC 9.8.
Hot damn, comic fam. The trickle-down effect has been real. First appearance of Johnny Blaze and Norman Reedus just trying to make this happen, it seems like. Some members of the community are, throwing some tweets out there, posting that they would like to see Norman Reedus throw his hat in the ring to become Marvel's biggest superhero meets the macabre, one of the most fantastical characters of Marvel Comics.
Well, he knows how to ride a motorcycle, and his head already looks like his hair's been lit on fire. So honestly, he would be perfect for that.
Well, he also thinks that as well. He mentioned in an interview last month that he would really like to portray Johnny Blaze. And over this last week, he's been retweeting individuals who have been doing shout outs saying that they would love to see him portray this on the screen. Thus, this book is seeing a major uptick in copies sold. This is an expensive comic, so seeing twice the amount of copies sell in 7 days put it on our list. And not everybody thought that Norman Reedus should be the next Ghost Rider, because at the list at number 7, we got Boss Logic moving some spec.
All new Ghost Rider number 1, first appearance of Robbie Reyes. Now, there was concept art back in May that started a rumor that Johnny Blaze may be showing up in Doctor Strange, but we had rumors before then that we may be seeing a different Ghost Rider.
All new Ghost Rider number 1, we have Robbie Reyes. This gentleman is fixing cars. He's racing them. He's getting shot in this comic, and he is taking on the spirit of vengeance. An increase of 136% this week in copies sold because all of this Norman Reedus news and fandom started emerging on the internet, and Boss Logic brought it right back and said, you know what? All this Ghost Rider talk, I want to see the MCU run it back to Gabriel Luna.
Boss Logic shakes up the industry in more ways than one, and the fact that Gabriel Luna responded to his tweet sparking rumors that he may be coming in as Robbie Reyes, it's a hot book.
Responding with a bunch of fire and skull emojis, we're seeing $50 average sales. This book hit a height back in October of $500 for a CGC 9.8. There was a recent auction that ended at $385 after 27 bids. And then just days later, this book hit $420 for a 9.8. This book may be great to grab now. And if you're patient for an auction, you may get it at a deal.
We also have some incredible variants for this book. There is a 1 in 25 Felipe Smith that hit $1,000 for a CGC 9.8 back in November. And there's even a Tradmore, and a 9.6 was $600 in December.
That's a 1 in 50 variant. Excited to see where that 9.8 lands. Next at the list, another multiple repeat offender. We have New Avengers, issue number 7, the first appearance of the Illuminati.
$25 average sales, $300 for a CGC 9.8. It is the first team appearance of the Illuminati, and we have Professor X, Doctor Strange, Black Bolt, Iron Man, Namor, and Black Panther, but currently there aren't that many of those guys who are existing in the MCU, so this is an interesting spec to me.
Especially considering that sometimes when movement happens on comic books as it pertains to interest in the collector's market, we see it spike and then sometimes level out, sometimes dip, and that happens quite a bit. This book over the last 3 months for 9.8s have consistently hit 250 and above. We saw an increase of copies sold of 227% in interest in copies sold over the last 7 days. This is all because of some of these characters seemingly being introduced in the future, such as Namor, such as Charles Xavier. What? Yes, that's a rumor that's still been circulating. Will we see one of our biggest mutants, one of the Omega level mutants, hit the screen in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness? It seems kind of like a stretch. We have Rintrah seemingly confirmed. Sleepwalker and Despair are on spec radar because of toys. We know we're going to get America Chavez. We have multiple versions of Doctor Strange, Scarlet Witch. I mean, this is starting to look like Spider-Man No Way Home.
Comic fam, let us know what you think in the comments section. Slap that like and that subscribe button.
You know we got a giveaway on deck, and at the list at number 5. This one is a fun book to see make the list, but it's also kind of sad. Amazing Spider-Man, issue number 400, The Death of Aunt May.
This is one of those books that it's been around for so long. It's been such a popular book, but the fact that they hadn't actually killed Aunt May in the MCU until right now, oh my gosh. Great book, $10 average sales, $280 for a high sale for a CGC 9.8 for ASM 400.
An increase of 150% in copies sold since the movie dropped, and we see a full character progression of every single Spider-Man that we've been introduced to over the last 2 decades?
That's right, Tom. For the last 20 years, we have been looking at Spider-Man, and with great power does come great responsibility. This book is a major book that not a lot of people have been looking at until right now. Keep in mind that there is a main cover that was sold for $2.95, a variant that had a die-cut gray tombstone on the cover that opened up to reveal a Spider-Man photo on the inside, and a white tombstone that was limited to 1 in 10,000. You can tell the 1 in 10,000 by flipping it around to the back. It very clearly says 1 in 10,000 in the barcode area.
Both of those tombstone die-cut covers, they kind of look similar, especially when you're trying to buy them off eBay because people's pictures aren't very consistent. But you mentioned it, that 10,000 printed variant copy is like a pure white tombstone, where
Very
the
much.
other that's not as rare is gray, and you can't even see anything on that tombstone. It's embossed, but it looks like rocks, where the 1 in 10,000, you can make out a Spider-Man in those rocks.
Number 4 on the list, Strange Academy number 14. This is the first full appearance of Gaslamp. $12 average sales and a $20 high sale for a guy that is kind of a drug dealer for magic.
An 1890 London Jack the Ripper feel in this character design, drawn wonderfully by Humberto Ramos, channeling some, Mignola Gotham by Gaslight vibes, and an increase of copies sold of 140%. This character was revealed in Cameo in issue 13, and it was issue 14 that's got the community buzzing because we get his full appearance.
This feels a lot like a Mephisto-style character, where I'm going to give you something, but I'm probably going to take more on the back end. Very much a sell your soul to the devil. I am excited to see where this character goes.
Yeah, if you need some magic, if you're craving it, if you can't get it in another way, well, he's going to be there for you, leaving destruction in his wake at the list at number 3. A book that we've been anticipating for quite a while that's going to give us some foreshadowing on what's to come all next year at Marvel Comics.
Number 3 on the list, the timeless number 1 Miss Minutes variant. This is an exciting book. It was solicited late. It was not a ratio variant, and I don't think a lot of people knew that it was going to be anywhere near as hot as it is. $15 average sales, $30 for a high raw sale. There's a bunch on auction right now, then the prices are climbing.
Well, this is the first time we've seen Miss Minutes on a comic book, and you mentioned it. People didn't know that this was going to be the cover, making this a key book that you had to be so up on the market to keep up with it, to be able to grab one by the time the release happened. Now, the individuals who got it, they were the ones who were essentially pre-ordering it blind.
So when Timeless was first solicited, we had a bunch of extra variant covers that were like TBA, to be announced variant covers. So people ordered the main cover, they ordered the ratio covers, but it wasn't until almost final order cutoff that they said Miss Minutes on the cover. And I think that's why so many people missed this. This is brand new this week and is scorching hot.
Introduced to Miss Minutes in the Loki show and a comic book. Bravo to Marvel Comics, because last year when they did this like one-shot kind of preview of what's to come, I mean, that's kind of a pricey MSRP. This year it was a $5.99, and I think that was what it was last year. And they definitely listened to the community. They cram this with so much content, amazing narratives. This is a book to read, and we get some crazy character development. We are going to be following Kang all next year, and the reveals are stunning.
The fact that we know Kang is very important in the MCU and now in the Marvel comic book universe, it's a character to watch.
He even got his own solo series this past year, and we get a glimpse of what's to come. We have a pirate timeline that's trying to collide with ours. Kang has to deal with it, and a full-page spread. Thanos wielding that gauntlet, that Mjolnir covered in all that Infinity Gem goodness. Donny Cates' Thor is coming full circle next year. Stay up on your Marvel comic books and join the mystery mail call. First mail call of January 2022. 1 per box. Buffy, The Last Vampire Slayer. Johnny Desjardins, store exclusive. 1 per box. Virgins going out at random. And we teamed up with another YouTuber. So not only are you able to support our show, you're supporting too. Reggie Collects, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic dealer, created a book, Reggie's Smart Guide to Comic Collecting. We did an homage to Wizard #1, made a couple virgin variants, 1 per box. going out in January.
Number 2 on the list, some Alan Moore goodness that is finally getting some of the love it deserves. Miracleman number 1, $20 average sales, $276 for a CGC 9.8.
An increase in copies sold of 2,267% over this last week. Hot damn, Comic Fam. This is one of the most important superhero comic books of all time. You should know this book like it's the back of your hand, specifically the Alan Moore run and the Neil Gaiman run. A character redefined by Alan Moore, brought from the Golden Age, that has been in legal limbo for quite some time. Should I say legal limbo, or should I just call it the void? Because this book has been in the void. Marvel brought it back to reprints, but hasn't continued the story. We've been waiting anxiously for this to take place, and I think we know where it's going.
Donny Cates has had an amazing year, and while a bunch of the other writers and artists at Marvel have been leaving to do their own Substack projects, he's been sticking around. This leads Bleeding Cool to say that they think the reason why he's hanging around is that he may be rebooting Marvelman. Donny Cates' response was, I guess I better get to work then. What a great way to find out I have a new project.
Continuing the narrative, rebooting it, it doesn't matter. This is a title that needs to be ongoing. We have been severely lacking one of the most important superhero stories of all time.
Comic Fam, hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Tell us what you think about the list, and it will enter you for an opportunity to win this fantastic House of Slaughter mystery mail call variant.
Comment down below. It'll enter you to win one of 2 copies we're going to give away. And at the list of number 1, a repeat offender blowing up the comic market over this last 7 days. Astonishing, incredible, a dollar bin book that has shot up.
Comic books were supposed to be all but dead, killed by digital marketplace. Records were supposed to be dead, killed by streaming. So why all of a sudden do we have a number 1 on the list where a record player is moving the needle on a comic book? Number 1 on the list, Tales of the Jedi number 1. We talked about it last week, and it's back on the list this week.
Moving the needle indeed, taking us back 4,000 plus years in Star Wars lore, happens here for the first time in this comic book. We see a record player that was gifted to Lucasfilm's employees. The box, however, had different trademarks of different shows, one of which was unsolicited, unannounced, Tales of the Jedi, pushing this book up last week an incredible amount. A dollar bin book, selling like hotcakes, and then back on our list this week, selling for an increase of 433% in copies sold. Hot damn, what a way to start out the year.
Now, while the average sale is still $10, which is the same as last week, we are seeing the high sale go from $160 for a 9.8 to $200 for a 9.8 this week. And the fact that these books are moving means the demand is out there.
It seldomly happens that we have a repeat offender, let alone one that goes from midway through the list to number 1 leading it. Happy New Year, Comic Fam. And as always,
geek responsibly.
Enough said. Comic Fam, join us every single Wednesday for What Not Wednesday on the best new app to buy and sell funny books, comic books, affordable paper, expensive paper, all of it. We're talking about What Not, available for both Androids and iOS. Link in the description. Follow both of our pages, and we'll see you then. We out.